that it doesn't mean that we should not work to earn living and have a good life in this life. No, we should, but we should not overvalue this life in comparison to the value of the latter life. The Quran tells us always that the latter life is both better and longer for those who believe in God and live and lead a godly life. So, ayah number 56, which is the next ayah, it says, and those who have been bestowed with knowledge, those who have been blessed with knowledge and faith, they will say, indeed, you have stayed according to the decree of Allah until the day of resurrection. So this is the day of resurrection, but you do not know. They think that they have been awakened up, not in their grave, but in their bedroom. They think they were asleep. This is part of the continuous delusion of how they feel about this life, how they feel about death and life in the grave, and how they feel about the time they spent on earth. So ayah number 57, it says, and on that day, no excuse or justifications of theirs will avail them before God, nor will they be given a chance or respite to ask for forgiveness or anything like this. And they will not be pardoned. Why? Because this life is where you cultivate and grow your credit for the hereafter. But the hereafter is where you harvest what you cultivated in this life. This is a very important belief, part of the Islamic belief system, that you strongly believe in the hereafter as much as you believe you can talk, you could see, you could eat, you could walk. As you see all these things as a fact, you should also believe that the second life is also an equal fact. Don't limit your sources of knowledge to just your eye. Your eye is not the only source of knowledge. Your brain also is. Your thoughtfulness is a source of knowledge. So knowledge should not be only limited to what you see or what you hear or what you touch. Those are tools and faculties that Allah has given us so that we can experience life. We can enjoy what's enjoyable. We can be cautious towards what is risky, and we can benefit from what we have. So these are what the functions of these faculties are. And they should all work together: the hearing, the sight, the touch, the taste, the ability to think. All of these are faculties that are meant to work together. And we know that the eye could be deceptive. This is why, funny magic is made to make us laugh. You see a magician making a trick, and your eyes show you one thing. But if you use your brain, then your brain can judge what your eyes are seeing. Unfortunately, most people are saying, I will only believe what I see. But if you only judge by what you see, and we know there are things that we cannot see, but we know they do exist. If you are inside your house, you don't see what's going on outside in the street, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We don't see the air, but we know it does exist. At night, when it is so dark, we don't see even our hands. But we know our hands did not disappear. It is just that it is dark. So let not your eye be a cause of delusion rather than a faculty for appreciating and enjoying what Allah has given you. People who deny the existence of God, many of them, they deny it based on the fact that they cannot see him, they cannot hear him, they cannot touch him. But who said that the eyes of your heart should be as blind and delusionary as the eyes of your sight? Your reasoning should override and take precedent over what your eyes see, what your ears hear, because voices and sights can be easily manipulated, especially today. With the technology of pictures and movie production, we could get President Bush talking in President Obama's picture as if they are put together, one through his voice and the other through his picture. So we cannot rely solely on our eyes and our ears and our taste and our touch. The mind is where analytics are effective. Even in empirical science, we do not rely on how things appear to be. We rely on examining their properties. We put them through the lab and we put them through experiments. Then we judge what material is this? How does it react to water, to heat, to something else if you add it to it? So we do not rely on our eyes to make a judgment about what kind of chemical is this. We use experimentation. And this is the function of our physical faculties. Our physical faculties are meant to help us explore materials. And they become useless when it comes to the spiritual side of life. And that's why no excuses will be acceptable on the day of judgment. Because when people use their physical faculties to judge the unseeable, the unseeable, the unknown, they can't, because this is not the function of our physical faculties. Very important. Ayah 58, it says, and we have indeed set forth for mankind in this Quran every kind of parable. But whatever you bring to them with as a sign, proof, and evidence, those who disbelieved would say, you are just playing magic. You are following falsehood. It's a farce. You talk about God? You talk about life in the grave? You're talking about resurrection and coming back to life, this life? No, there's nothing like this, you're lying. Or else you're playing magic. Why? Because they don't see it, they cannot touch it. And what they see physically tell them that the person who dies becomes only body, nothing living out of him. And few weeks or few months later, he becomes bones. And few more weeks, those bones will turn into dust. So they say, if it is dust, then it could never come back to life. And that's why the Quran tells us, if you are denying your own resurrection, you think it's impossible, rest assured that we have created you from dust. And recently, science has come to prove what the Quran is saying. Physically, that the elements of life that you find in dust are the same elements of life that you find in humans. From oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, all of the basic 6, 7 elements of life, they are found in the dust, and in the same proportions, you can find them in the body of a human being. So now, after science has made us aware of those life elements, the source of life elements that are necessary for any life, clear for us, nobody should have a problem believing that, as the Bible and the Quran say, that we were created from dust, and as we see with our own eyes, that people who die turn back into dust materially, then recreating us from dust is as easy as the first time we were created from dust. Very important issue, that we recognize facts when Allah makes those facts clear through our own empirical evidence, what we call science. Not to say that the Quran needs science to be proven, but when science comes with its final say about the matter and it matches the Quran, this leaves no excuse for anyone to try to use one against the other. The Quran against science, or science against the Quran. Whatever is proven to be finale or final in science, it must match what the Quran says about the same issue. Ayah number 59, which is the ayah before last in the surah, it says, and thus does Allah seal up the hearts of those who do not know. Because there are people here in this life who do not know. And we know that those people, when they are faced with the fact as they die, they will be shocked. Their eyes will pop out of shock. So, ayah number 59 again, it says, thus does Allah seal up the hearts of those who know not or do not know, those who try not to understand true facts that you, Muhammad, understand, that you, the believer, understand. What is the last ayah in the surah? The last ayah, ayah number 60, it gives admonishment to Prophet Muhammad and to every reader of the Quran. And listen to this admonishment. It's very important. So be patient, O Muhammad. Verily, the promise of Allah is true. And let not those who have no certainty of faith discourage you from conveying the message of Allah. Don't let them dissuade you to stop conveying the message. Don't let them make you feel down. The rejection should be a motive for you to do more, not less. So here in the last ayah of the surah, it is focusing on patience. In the face of denial of faith, in the face of denial of God, in the face of trying to challenge the Quran, challenge Allah, challenge the messenger, a believer should hold on to their patience, to persevere, to hold on to your faith, and to steadfast your path forward towards Allah. So this is the end of surah number 30, surah Ar-Rum, and it is up to you. If you want to use the rest of the time for questions, we can do that, and the questions could be open. It doesn't have to be on a verse or specific text. So let me know if you have questions. So either you raise your hand or write in the chat, and the sister translating for us will let me know what the questions are. I remember last time when we had questions, time was not enough for us to handle all the questions. So even if you have a question from last time, please go ahead. Okay, does it look like we don't have any question from anybody?
Yeah, if there's no questions, then that's okay. It looks like there's no questions. Everyone's quiet, so you can continue.
Sure, okay. So we'll move on to surah number 31, named Surah Luqman, Luqman. Luqman. Surah Luqman starts off with a few letters from the Arabic language, letter Alif or A, letter Lam or L, and the letter M or Mim. And those letters, when they are put in the beginning of the surah, they do not constitute a word. They are just letters, random letters, appear to be random letters from the Arabic language to challenge those who claim that Prophet Muhammad wrote the Quran. And what is the challenge in setting those letters in the beginning? The challenge is this Quran is made from the Arabic language, in which you, the Arab atheists and polytheists, are denying that this revelation came from God. You say that Muhammad made it. Go ahead and bring something like it. Bring one surah or 10 surah or whatever numbers. Just try to match it. You are eloquent. You are very good in the Arabic language. You write poetry. You're very impressive. You're very articulate. Why don't you do like him? Besides, Prophet Muhammad never learned to read or write. Never went to school. He was unlettered. So how could you say that he wrote it? So those are the functions of those letters that you see in the beginning of some of the surahs in the Quran, some of the chapters, if you will. So it says, ayah number 2, these are the verses of the wise book, referring to the Quran. And whenever those letters are put in the beginning of a surah, the discussion right after will include something about the Quran, something about the book, something about the writing of the book, the keeping of the book, the description of the book, or how the book was put together by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how it was revealed, who revealed the book. So those would be the subjects that come and follow this type of letters. So these are the verses, the signs, and the evidence that come in the wise book. The Quran is a wise book. It comes from Allah's knowledge and wisdom. And when it comes to wisdom, the word in Arabic is Hakim, H-A-K-E-E-M. Hakim means not only wise, but well structured, well put together, formidably coherent, very well built, if you will. It also comes, number 3, as a guide and a mercy for the doers of good. Those who perform the salah, they perform the prayer, the daily prayers, and they give their zakah, Z-A-K-A-T, and they believe in the hereafter. They believe in the hereafter. This is the description here that we have in the Quran. It's very important that we focus on how the Quran describes the Quran. Okay, so the Quran is a guide and a mercy, but for those who believe and do righteous deeds. And those who firmly believe in the hereafter with certainty, not just an idea that there is a hereafter, not just a thought. They don't have it as imagination. No, they firmly believe that the hereafter is real as they speak, as real as they see, as real as they hear. And number 5, such people are on guidance from their Lord, and such are the successful ones, meaning people who believe firmly and who do their duties in their commitment to Allah and in their commitment to people, in their commitment to the society in which they live, and in their faith of the hereafter. Those are the ones who are really guided. So being guided is not just holding to an idea in your head. It has to be supported and confirmed by your action. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught the Prophet what faith is. And the Prophet taught us, he said that faith is a belief that settles in the heart and is confirmed by action. Now, ayah number 6, it's going to divide people into certain groups. So in ayah number 6, it says, and of mankind, there is one who purchases idle talks to mislead from the path of Allah without knowledge. They talk, but it is idle talk. It is useless because they don't speak based on knowledge. And they are taking this life and this revelation and this guidance of Allah for mockery. So at the end of the ayah, it says, those are the ones who are going to be faced with humiliating torment in the hellfire. Those who are mocking Islam, who are mocking the truth, those who are mocking the Prophet or God or the believers because of their faith, they will be the laughing stock in the hereafter, and they will be mocked and humiliated in the hereafter. As if the ayah is saying to the believers, don't be depressed, don't be feeling down when they mock your faith. They are mocking it because they don't have knowledge. They are mocking you to make you feel down and to make themselves feel above you. They are mocking you because of their arrogance, not because they are really better than you. So, ayah number 7, it says, and when our verses, which means verses from the Quran, are recited to such a person, he turns away in pride. He is boastful. He's arrogant, as if he heard them not, as if he heard nothing, as if there were deafness in their ears. You know, we use this expression that if somebody doesn't want to hear you, they put their fingers in their ears as to close their hearing. The Quran describes them as deaf, And whenever the Quran describes somebody as deaf, it is because they are turning a deaf ear to the message, not because they are physically deaf. It is a metaphor. It is not about physical deafness, but it is about their arrogance and their boastfulness. And when our verses are recited unto him, he turns away in pride and arrogance, as if he has not heard them at all, as if he were deaf. So announce to him a painful torment. The actual word in the ayah says, give him the painful, and in mockery, it says good news of painful torment. So they mock the believer, they mock Islam, they mock the Prophet. So the Quran is giving them a promise of mockery, saying, give them the good news of a painful torment. How could painful torment be a good news? So this is meant to rebuke and to make them wake up and pay attention. Then the second group is ayah number 8. Verily, those who believe in Islam and do righteous good deeds, for them are gardens of delight, which we normally would call paradise. So the ayat started to divide people into believers and doers of righteous deeds versus the deniers and those who reject the message. For the believers, ayah number 9 continues to say, they will be therein for eternity, in paradise. And Allah is the Almighty, the All-Wise. This is His promise. This is the promise of Allah. You know, if someone you trust makes a promise, you take it seriously. That's why, as Muslims, we should take Allah seriously. We should take His word seriously. We should take His promise seriously. So it goes on to say that He, Allah, is the one who created the heavens without any pillars. Do you see the pillars carrying the sky above us? Who's holding the sky, the canopy that we see above us? Who's holding it? But the one who created it. The Quran actually says that Allah is the one who is holding the heavens and the earth so that they do not slip from where they are supposed to be. And science tells us that if the earth is closer to the sun 1 inch, everything on earth would burn. And if the earth goes away 1 inch from the sun in its orbit, then everything on earth will be frozen. So everything is running in its orbit as it is supposed to be. As if Allah is telling us, you also must follow your track, must follow the guidance of Allah, must be respectful of the path that Allah has drawn for you. Don't go with your own head. Use your head to understand the guidance of Allah so that your path is a path based on knowledge. Like if you want to travel from Washington to New York, you better have a map. You say, no, I know the way. Yes, you are right, you know the way. But if an accident happens and you have to exit, you need to know how to get back on the main highway. In our daily life, we, even believers, get deviated from the righteous path every single day. So we need a map to bring us back to where the direction is. So it says here, ayah number 10, Allah is the one who has created the heavens without any pillars to carry it, and that he has set on the earth firm mountains, lest it should shake with you. So the mountains have a function to hold the crust of the earth together. That's why geological science tell us that for every mile a mountain rises up above the earth, there's about 10 miles of foundation for this mountain below the earth. The Quran tells us that the mountains function as pigs, as foundational pigs. You know the pigs that hold a tent in the earth? Those are the pigs we're talking about. So the mountains hold the crust of the earth so that it does not sink to the bottom and swallow what is on the top of the earth. So he has set strong, formidable mountains on top of the earth crust, and he has made them sink deep enough in the earth so that it does not sink with you. And it is he who has scattered therein moving and living creatures of all kinds. Then the ayah goes on to speak in the first person, saying, and we send down water or rain from the sky, and we cause plants of every godly kind to grow therein. So Allah is the one who grows the plants. You say that this man is a fruit grower or whatever, tomato grower or grain or whatever, but actually all what we do is put the seeds in the earth and give it water. But who makes it sprout? Allah. Who turns the solid dry seed into a sprouting plant that produces trees of all types, fruits and vegetables of all kinds, green, whatever. So it is Allah. And if he wills, he could make it dead and not growing anything. Or he could send a freezing rain to kill it all. Or he could hold the rain and the earth will be dry, it will be arid, it will grow nothing. So all of this is up to Allah. Sending the water, sprouting the plants, growing the plants, it's all up to Allah. In another surah, actually, the Quran asks a question, do you sprout it and grow it, or do we do that? So ayah number 11, it states the fact. This is the creation of Allah. This is the power of creation displayed and put on display for you to recognize the power behind the growth of plants and the power behind water falling from the sky. If Allah holds the water or Allah stops the plants from growing, how could we live? How could our animals feed or live or drink? So it says, ayah number 11, this is the creation of Allah. So show me what did the claimed partners create other than what he has created. Who besides Allah created anything? Show me what they have created. Other gods, show us what other gods that you worship or glorify, what have they created? You worship each other and you think that the wealthy have created wealth? Show us where did they create it from? Were it not for Allah giving them the faculties that they are using, how could they have created anything? How could they have developed the wealth they have? It's all by the bounties of God. It's all out of his grace and mercy. Then the concluding remark in this ayah is that indeed the wrongdoers and those who do not believe in Allah, they are in plain error. They are wrong. Does the Quran need to tell us that these people are wrong? Yes, because on our own, we could be deluded by their power. You see, when we see two people fighting, one of them is powerful and the other is weak, definitely we all wish to be in the place of the powerful, not the weak. Nobody wants to be broken. Nobody wants to be on the ground. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, look at the ultimate source of power and be humble. Submit. And submit is what Islam is about. Submission is what Islam is calling us to do. That's why when we pray, when we stand and pray, we are setting our hands as if we are handcuffing ourselves in submission to God, in humility before his power. But the wrongdoers, they are arrogant because of their wealth, their power, or the forces they amass, and the authority they may have over others, or the knowledge Allah has blessed them with. They use it to act arrogantly instead of being humble. But the believer, when he is given wealth or health or power or anything, he is humble. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take us in the next few ayat in a journey. I will not be able to finish the whole journey today because I do have another class in 3 minutes, but I'm going to go through as much as we can in few minutes, inshallah. But I want you to read this section, the section between ayah number 12 and I'm going to tell you, yeah, ayah number 12 and ayah number 19. So 12 through 19 is what I want you to be focusing on for the next session. I'm going to go over some of those now, but I want you to read it with yourself and your family. It is very central. These admonishments that you hear and read in this section are very important for living a decent, humble life. So here it goes, ayah number 12, surah number 31. And we have provided Luqman with wisdom, saying to him, give thanks to Allah. And whoever gives thanks to Allah, he gives thanks for the good of himself only. And those who are ungrateful, then verily Allah is all rich, free of all wants, worthy of all praise. So here is the entry into this admonishment, saying that Allah has given Luqman. Luqman is said to be either a righteous man or a prophet in his community. Okay? Allah taught him wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is to be grateful to Allah. This is wisdom. Wisdom is to appreciate whatever you have as a gift from Allah and to offer thanks and gratitude for Allah for giving you what you enjoy. And when you offer gratitude to Allah, you are actually doing it for your own best interest. So what do I get when I offer thanks to Allah? What do I get in return for my gratitude? Allah says in another place, Allah has already decreed that if you are grateful, I will give you more. So the problem with people is we are not grateful. Why aren't we grateful? Because we are fixing our eyes on what we do not have. So we keep asking Allah, we keep asking, we keep begging, we keep working hard to get what we don't have, and we forget that if we thank for what we have, if we thank Allah for what He has given us, He will give us more. So we neither enjoy what we have because we are too busy asking for what we don't, nor do we get more because we don't offer thanks. Then some people may raise a false question, saying, what about those who have nothing? They should be grateful for what is left for them to have, whether it is their health in general, whether it is their eyes, their ears, their mouth, their hands, their legs. Thank Allah for what you have before you ask Allah for what you do not have. And if everybody does this, we would all lead a very happy life. Because when you look at what you have, it should prompt you to be grateful. But when you keep your eyes too busy hunting for what you don't have, you will never see what you have as big or worthy of thanks. So the ayah continues at the end and says, if anyone denies what Allah has given him, Allah is self-sufficient. He doesn't need anybody. He is too rich to need anything from anyone or from any source. And he is praiseworthy. So he is fully sustained by his own power. So now I have to go for my next session. I'm sorry.
Okay, just really quick, please.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. My friend just texted me and asked a question. So, I think you met my friend and you chat. I met my friend. I was chatting with her about something. And just to clarify, so I mean, I told my friend to promise Allah. Sorry, just a second, because it's the screen is blurry, so it's not clear. Okay, I'm just going to explain it again. So my friend and I.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sister Aisha, I'm late already for the next class. You see, I wanted to open
Okay,
the
that's
chance for
fine.
questions.
I'll wait till next week.
I'm sorry. Please, let us reserve the questions for next time, and let us begin with what is left from this time. Because I really need to go and check on
Okay,
my
next week,
class.
inshallah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Very sorry.
Okay, no, that's all right.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we'll stop here and